question for research. We used a range of technologies during the audience research, such as camera technology to interview the person who we wanted to gain information from, who we thought was ideal to watch our film. But this is different from AS, as we didn't do an audience profile. It was just primary research, and that was it. We just did a questionnaire, which we also used the internet for that through SurveyMonkey. We used it in order to collect the data which was relevant in the planning and creation of the narrative of the film. So we went on various websites to look at different short films made by independent and multimedia conglomerates. This was the same as the AS, as it was the basic principle of gathering primary information in order to inform us on what we need to do best for our film. So there was no change. There was no change in that, because the basic skills were needed in order to fulfill this task. We used a variety of websites, such as the British Board of Film Classification, which we used in order to inform us of the regulations and conventions of each age rating category, in order to know what we need to include and what not to include to get our specific rating, which was 15 rated. And this shows that our research skills have developed since AS, as we didn't need to go into as much detail, as it was only a foundation portfolio, but with the advanced portfolio we needed to go the extra step and research different regulations and whatnot, what you are and what you aren't allowed to put in, to attract different audiences. And we also used YouTube to conduct research on other media products, such as, for example, like Sicario, which was a thriller film, which we looked at as our chosen genre was Sicario, which enabled us to stick to the conventions of the film, which was to keep the audience on the seat and have a twist at the end of it to show, it's a thriller film. Again, we used a variety of different camera technologies in order to film auditions for our 3 characters, which was involved in the narrative. This provided us with evidence in the blog to then say we auditioned this many people, and from this many people we chose these 3 actors which we thought were best for the role and that we thought we could best work with. But this differs from AS, as I personally didn't use camera technology in the planning stage of the production because I didn't need to audition anyone. I already knew who I was filming, who I was taking a photo of, so I didn't need to use the camera technology in order to plan the main product. But something that is similar to the AS portfolio that I used was the use of mobile technology. I used my phone to take pictures of the various filming locations that we chose, which were Coursework Linear Park and the Coursework, which is just outside Coursework, which was very beneficial to us because we needed it to choose between locations which was better, and in the end we chose the Coursework because it was better. It was more quiet and more secluded, so we could use the gun prop more easily and freely, because the Coursework Linear Park was very crammed, so we wouldn't have been able to do it in such a crammed area, as the gun was black, so it would have looked like the real deal. This differs from AS, as I only looked at one film location, which was in college, and it was and it was the studio, which is the media studio for location, so I didn't need to use this technology in this element of the planning stage, as I was doing print, so I only needed to take photos. It wasn't for running around and filming an abduction thriller film. Something that was very similar to AS though was the use of Microsoft Excel in order to produce a time management sheet, which allowed us to plan what we're doing on certain days in lesson, and it allowed us to kind of get everything organised and make sure that everything was done on time and we knew what needed doing. But compared to AS though, even though we used it last year, it wasn't that detailed. It was only maybe like a few, like not very big. But for the advanced portfolio, it was a lot more planning had to go on. So our skills have developed from the AS to advanced portfolio in order to plan bigger projects which needed undertaking through time management on Microsoft Excel. From a production side of things, we used all the basic technologies that are needed to make a sufficient media product. So firstly, we used Photoshop, which we used the basic tools of cut and the lasso and the text, and to make a basic ancillary product of a film poster, which was needed to put effects like gradients and brightness to show the different meanings behind each photo and each character that was portrayed on each of the posters. So then it kind of stuck in the audience's mind that there's something else to this film, which is again a part of the conventions of media, of thriller films, which is a twist at the end of the film. And we used, for the short film, we used camera technology. It involved using a camera rig which was over the shoulder, so we could do action shots of chase scenes, and all of it allowed us to stick to the conventions of thriller films, which is obviously keeping the audience on the edge of their seat. So these action scenes were vital in the creation of our film. And so we also used a tripod, which allowed us to film from different angles at a steady frame. So this involved high, low angles, medium shots and establishing shots in order at each stage of the film to provide a picture to the audience members. This differs from the AS coursework, as it was only an opening sequence to a film, so you were quite limited on what you could do with the various camera technologies available to you back then. So the use of the shoulder rig definitely shows an advanced progression in our skills with the camera. And then for the editing side of our production, we used Premiere Pro to edit the short film and the radio, which we manipulated the audio and footage file through using the razor tool to snip, and then we deleted the bit that we didn't want, and we used various transition effects from each shot to provide more clear-cut editing, more precise, which made the final product look a lot better than without them. During the editing of the radio trailer, we used add and remove keyframe, which allowed us to change the audio levels of sound, which meant that we could introduce various audio clips overlapping, which could provide that all-round intense feeling to the actual product, which shows an advanced progression in our skills, because I myself hadn't used Premiere Pro that much, so to show from basic skills to being able to manipulate sound and various other things in order to suit our needs for the film to make it look like a professional product, it certainly shows a progression in skills. We also used a Zoom mic, which we used to dub the audio for the radio trailer and the short film, as during editing we noticed a few shots weren't completely right, so we had to dub the audio files using a Zoom mic, which definitely added more quality sound to the actual film. We used YouTube and YouTube Converter to gain various musics and soundtracks and sound effects through YouTube Converter, which then allowed us to add other elements of like non-diegetic sound into the film, which allowed us to improve the product itself, and so make the whole media product look professional. During the evaluation element of the advanced portfolio, we used a variety of technologies such as a zoom mic, a camera and Premiere Pro, which all were used to create, like I'm using now, a camera, a video clip to show our analysis of our progression throughout the advanced portfolio. And so we used a camera for this, question 4, we used a zoom mic and a camera for question 1, I believe, and then question 2 we used a zoom mic purely so we can have the audio relaying across a series of images, which then provided a more sophisticated look to rather than just having a PowerPoint presentation. We all gained the footage and used Premiere Pro to edit and manipulate the footage and audio using our variety of skills gained from the advanced portfolio in order to create the best as possible evaluation presentations and audio and footage clips possible.